God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. One more. God gives me everything I need. Oh yeah. Good morning, you guys.
I stomped all over your ending there, sorry. So how we doing? Nice to see you all here today. Welcome to those of you in the sanctuary. Welcome back. Welcome to those of you out there on the internet land. Welcome to our YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, my name, well, even if it's your second time here, I'm still Reverend Dr. Mike McMorrow. I'm the senior minister here at the Center for Spiritual Living. We're in Granada Hills, California, which is in the North San Fernando Valley in Southern California, a place where we welcome all who practice their beliefs in faith and love. So we're delighted to have you here today. We are joined by our musical inspiration, Mr. Jason Goldstein.
Hey guys, hello. Thank you.
And young Paula is joining him on the drums today. And the mistress of animal kinship, Reverend Kathy Lyons. So let's give her some love as well. And give yourself some love for showing up. Yeah, got out of the house. Good for you. All right, so let's start by taking a deep conscious breath together. And release. Just allow ourselves to claim this moment, to surrender to this moment, this eternal now moment. As we come together for this call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. And that fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Reverend Kathy lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. The fifth candle we light for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. The seventh candle we light for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the 8th candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The 9th candle we light for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here in our sanctuary, within our online community, and of course within our own hearts. Now, as Reverend Kathy lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
There is one flame that burns in our hearts. There is one light that shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own souls. There is one flame, one light within.
So join me, please, as I speak in the I am for everyone here and online. I recognize this presence of God, this one flame, which we call God, which is the flame of love, which is the flame of joy and peace. And I am one with this presence of God. This flame within me expresses through me as love, as peace and joy. So right now I proclaim that this service today is a perfect and complete idea in the mind of God, that it is just I'm experiencing pure love, pure joy. As I celebrate these summer months, as I celebrate Juneteenth and the summer solstice, and just feeling that I'm just basking in this beautiful light. And I feel this infinite peace as well, that there's peace within me, and knowing right now there's peace in the whole planet and universe. And so I am so grateful right now, so grateful to be here, and grateful for Reverend Mike, the center, and everyone participating. So I release my word to the law. It is done, it is so, and together we say, and so it is. Okay, good morning. My quote for today is from Emerson: "To have a friend is to be a friend." And I've been thinking a lot about friendship and how important loved ones. And I really realized that yesterday I attended a memorial service for a friend's father, and it was a wonderful tribute. And there were so many people, his family and friends, expressing love. And that's what I realized, that's one of the greatest things, is to live a life where you love and you're well loved. Ernest Holmes says on page 298 of the textbook, "Love is the grandest healing, drawing power to earth, the very reason for our being, and that explains why people should have something or someone to love." And that includes, too, our animals, because that's another way of feeling great love. And I always realize when I attend a memorial or celebration of life that really is the most important thing. Ernest Holmes also says on page 298, "A person may have many shortcomings, but if they love greatly, much will be forgiven them." And I remember when my aunt, my mother's sister, when she was getting close to making her transition, she was in the hospital, and she said to my mom, you know, it's not about money, it's about love. And I can see why she might have said that. She and my uncle, they were extremely tight. Never spent one, somebody said she never spent one Social Security check. I mean, yeah, and you know, there's one thing about being financially prosperous, and that's fine, but that's not the only thing, and I think my aunt probably realized that. And what this really, too, about friendships, I realized after attending this memorial service, don't put off calling friends or people we haven't seen in a while. One of the things that I kind of regretted, yesterday somebody told me that the cat that lived outside here for many years, Mr. Orange, that he passed away. And I had kept meaning to call the woman who eventually took him in about a year ago as a guardian. He lived out in the street, in the alley for years, and when he got old and had been injured, she took him in. And I meant to call her to check on him, maybe even offering to, you know, furnish some cat food. But I got busy and I put it off. So I realized I'm not going to do that anymore. And I even called up a friend yesterday afternoon that I've known since junior high, because it had been a few months. I called and we had a nice chat. And so I'm going to call some other people. I have a few people I want to call. So don't put off calling friends that you haven't talked to for a while, or forgive people maybe that you're still harboring resentment, or make new friends. Ernest Holmes also said, people are dying for real human interest, for genuine friendship, for someone to tell them that they are all right. So this week, reach out and get in touch with friends and make new ones. And so it is.
Good morning, you guys. Hello, hello, hello. It's my pleasure to have Paolo joining me on the drums. Paolo just graduated high school. Congratulations, Paolo. All right, here we go. You with the sad eyes, don't be discouraged. So I realize that it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and the darkness inside you makes you feel so small. But I see your true color shining through, and I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. Your true colors, they're beautiful, like a rainbow. Show me the smile then. Don't be unhappy, you can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy and you take in all you can bear, you just call me up, because you know I'll be there. And you see your true color shining through, and you see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true color. Your true colors, they're beautiful like a rainbow. I see your true colors shining through. Yes, I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors, your true colors, your true colors. They are beautiful, like a rainbow, like a rainbow. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
We have a few announcements, and the first one I'm going to share is Reverend Nicole. First of all, on July 2nd, after the second service, there's a young adults meeting. And if you have questions, you can talk to Reverend Nicole in her purple shirt there. And there's a July youth program, and that's something else, and that's on July 2nd, July 9th, and July 23rd. So this is something new. So if you have children or grandchildren or know any young people, be sure to invite them, and you can talk to Reverend Nicole for more details. Practitioners are available today in the treatment room for our two-minute tune-up, and we've got a few practitioners here. We've got Phil, we've got Reverend Nicole, Reverend Nancy, Reverend Susie. I see, Rosalie there. So if you need a two-minute tune-up, sometimes that's all that it takes, and it doesn't have to be because you're having some challenge or concern. If there's something really good in your life and you want to even boost that, talk to one of us and we'll be glad to treat for you. And also, too, if you go to CSLGH.org, there's also other practitioners available, too, if you want to reach out and have an actual appointment. Our bereavement support group today is at 1 o'clock, and that's facilitated by Reverend Jessica Fish, and you can email her, Reverend Jessica Fish, at iCloud.com. And Sangha, 8-week hybrid Sangha with Reverend Nicole begins Wednesday, June 21st at 11:30 online. And is it still open? Yes, and it's still open. So again, Reverend Nicole can answer your questions. Don't forget this, it's a potluck brunch with Reverend Mike, and that's on July 9th. There's a sign-up sheet in Sparks Hall, or you can talk to Kathy Theodore at Kathy, Kathy, Theodore at earthlink.net for if you have additional questions or to sign up, or you can talk to Melissa in our office, admin at CSLGH.org. Also, save the date for Summer Kids Theater Camp, and that's hosted by Ginny and again Reverend Nicole, August 7th through 11th from 9 to 12 p.m. And again, our distinguished, wonderful Reverend Nicole can answer your questions. So those are the announcements, and now please stand for our Declaration of Principles. We believe in one universal spirit, manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe that the universal spirit is personal to and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon a law of mind which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and in the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all.
Heaven's inside of us. Heaven's inside of us. Oh, the spirit in nature, within and without. Now that I know that God's right here, right now. Yeah, heaven's inside of us. Heaven's inside of you. Heaven's inside of you. Oh, the spirit in nature, within and without. Now that you know that God's right here, right now. Yeah, heaven's inside of you. Yeah, heaven's inside of us. Yeah, heaven's inside of us. Oh, the spirit in nature, within and without. Now that you know that God's right here, right now. Yeah, heaven's inside of us. Going up. Heaven's inside of us. Yeah, heaven's inside of us. Oh, the spirit in nature, within and without. Now that you know that God's right here, right now. The heaven's inside of us. Yeah, heaven's inside of us. Yeah, heaven's inside of us. Very nice, you guys. Sounding very good.
So did we mention bereavement support and announcements today?
Yes,
We did, okay, good.
1 o'clock on Zoom.
All right, so if you're watching on Zoom, you can flip right on over if you need some support for bereavement support this week. Also, so we have a birthday online too. So I don't know which one, but Vive la France. Vive la Thibault, who's one of our online friends who's joining us from across the pond over in France. So happy birthday, Thibault. And I would sing you happy birthday, but I don't want to empty out the place on this side. So anyway, celebrating you, and so I hope you're having a great day, and however you are celebrating that. And it's good to be with you all here this morning. Good to see you all. I want to thank all of you who showed up for Jonna Shane yesterday and her family as we celebrated the life of her father, Bernie. One of the things that's really lifts my own heart is when people from outside of our community come here for whatever reason. And it's not uncommon. In fact, it's very common for people to say, wow, I can just really feel the love in this place, right? And then we had people being of support to the family and so forth. And so it's just really a testimony to each one of you and the consciousness that you bring to this place, that we've been bringing to this place since the late 70s, right? But your consciousness, your love is oozing into the walls and radiating when you're not here. So, and that's also so true when people stop in during the week to have a look around. So anyway, thank you for being here if you were in service of any way. You know, Bernie lived a full life, and it was good to see his family here gathered to share stories that I know are going to now live on in family lore. And like many families today, I know there are stuff that people work through, right? So within every family, there are stories of loss. There are stories of divorce, separation of any kind, which at the time I'm sure were very difficult and painful. And, a gathering such as this, I think it's good for us to come together in this way because we touch places within our own life experience where we may remember times of struggle, of conflict, or sadness that in real time, these things often feel like they're never going to end, and yet they do. And so here we all were, celebrating Bernie, who made it to 90, was a real character, and celebrating times of love, of connection, and fun. So I didn't know he was like a big water ski enthusiast, right? So, because I think I met him when he was young, like 75. And so I didn't know about the water skiing part, so that was fun to learn. And of course, there's the in-laws, the outlaws, outside friends gathered for a visit over a sandwich, the past in the past, and love making its presence known in the ways seen and unseen. So I think about Bernie and the little that I knew about him with the short visits that we had, and his willingness to share his life wisdom from his perspective with me of love won and lost, of jobs that came and went, his construction stuff. And then finally, when you have your health, you have everything, right? Now, I have to say, when I was a young guy, I would hear that stuff, and I'm like, oh, big eye roll, right? Because you can't pay the rent with good health, which I had in abundance. But of course, now, he's right. When you have your health, you have everything. But what was on display yesterday was not a list of accomplishments, of stuff and things. It was not a testimonial to that old 90s license plate frame, he who dies with the most stuff wins. Everybody remember that one? And but rather it was a testimony of love in all of its forms, in full display and demonstration. And then everyone leaves, and it's time to set up for the next gathering. And I share this with you today because in preparing today's message, I was struck about how this celebration of life can also be a useful metaphor for the talk title today. So we're speaking to personalize the infinite. And I know that for myself, this idea of personalizing the infinite, this is just another way within the science of mind of saying how to get personal with God. Now, for many in this practice of the science of mind and spirit, this can be an interesting exploration because right off the bat, we may discover that we have a struggle with the word G-O-D, with the word of God itself. I think it's important to remember that it's just a placeholder word for that which is both transcendent and immanent. That the word God is a derivative from the German Gott, right? And in German or in Greek it was theos. So there's not only many religions about what this thing God is, but there's many words. And as soon as, in the ancient Hebrews believed, as soon as you put a name on it, you limited it. And I love that. So if you go to the Shabbat site, it'll say G space D. It won't even use those three letters, which I think is cool. Now, and I got to say, so for people who struggle with the word, as I did, let's face it, this word God has a lot of baggage attached to it. That's why we here at our center, here in Granada Hills, that we open both Sundays and Wednesday night with the ritual of lighting the flames of faith. To acknowledge that there is this power behind all religious thought and experience that we are connecting to and with. So as individuals, we are here to explore what the Spirit means to us, our relationship with it, if we have one, right? How to utilize that belief in our personal world. Now, many of us come to places like this searching for answers of some kind. But I have to say, in my years around here now, I don't know that folks are really looking for answers as much as looking for language to describe their own unique understanding of the divine. Now, for me, Ernest Holmes, that's what he did for me. I remember the first time reading the book or listening, coming in to this weird church with a woman minister, hearing all these kind of strange ideas, right? And also thinking, wow, this is the way that I've always thought about God, but never was able to articulate. I wasn't able to put a language to it. I think that's true for many people who find their way here. So ultimately, we come to demystify our thinking, because in doing that, then we mystify our belief. Right? We find a way then to allow mystery and inspiration and connection. We learn to be comfortable with uncertainty itself. Because after we get a few miles on ourselves, right, in life, we come to see that there's a lot more uncertainty than there are things that we can be certain of. And so we come to a teaching like this, and we broaden our idea of the divine. So this is an old idea, but it comes from Emerson in his essay Circles. So St. Augustine, thousands of years ago, said that God is a circle whose center is everywhere, and its circumference is nowhere. So that's like a big departure from the way I was raised. I'm just going to leave it at that. I had an idea of the Holy Spirit, but it was tied to a lot of other things too. So we begin to broaden our idea of what the divine is. And then we explore and learn how the divine works in the world naturally, as natural law. We land on this idea that we live in cause and effect. Now, and any of us who came out of the 70s already knew that, what goes around comes around, man, right? We already knew that part. But this is beyond that. Maybe you didn't have to grow up in the 70s to know that. That life is cause and effect, expressing as a life of the divine, expressing through the avenue of our life. And in looking at our own life, then we see that you and I are cause to our own effect. That our life then is a reflection of our own thinking and beliefs. And should we connect to deeper aspects of mind, right? That with practice we come to see that there is a mind, there is a thinker behind the thinker. The mind back of this finite human mind that's bound by nothing. That should we connect with that, we would be connected to something that is infinite in its reach, in its power, in its intelligence, in its creativity, and in fact is the wellspring of love itself. So if we don't have a direct experience of that, we at least begin to suspect that it may be true. In fact, this is the first cause of mind or spirit that is behind all of existence, creating all of creation out of itself by becoming the thing that it's thinking about, bound only by the law of its own being. Now, according to this perspective then, first cause is not an external entity or separate from creation, but is inherent within it. What does that mean? That means that at the smallest aspects of this experience, God is. Using God as the placeholder word again. From the smallest quark to the most vast aspect of creation that we can think of, that the Spirit is in, through, and expressing as all. Not as some external entity, but as life itself. So I think it's kind of trippy to think about such things. Even this notion, we've talked about this before, that in order for us to have the matter that we experience in the building blocks of what we know as this material life comes from the explosion of a star itself. That all the heavier elements, like carbon and so forth, that we are made up of come from stars. That we are literally made of stardust. That blows my mind. That matter starts out and these infinitesimal things and coalesces and recoalesces and breaks down and demonstrates this law of impermanence throughout all of this creative experience until finally matter not only becomes conscious, but it becomes conscious of being conscious. That it not only thinks, but it thinks about thinking. And so in this way, the divine awakens to discover itself by means of you and by means of me. So this first cause thing is not an external entity, it's who we are expressing, bound only by what? This. It is the infinite and the intelligent energy that underlies all phenomena, and it operates through immutable, meaning unchangeable, spiritual laws. Now, where do we get that from, right? Well, let's just take, at least here on this planet, and our understanding of existence, the law of gravity, right? The law of gravity works the same here as it works, well, at least in our known universe. Laws around electricity work the same way. The laws of thermodynamics work the same way. In the physical universe, that these are constants. That there are spiritual laws of which we are not only using or have some conscious understanding of, but also spiritual laws that I'm sure we're not even aware of yet. Until our consciousness opens up, and really it's a heart-mind kind of thing, opens up enough. But this doesn't mean that we can't still use it. You know, early man did not understand the chemistry of how fire worked, and yet they knew somehow, somebody figured out if you hit some flint with something, you're going to get a spark and it's going to catch a fire. Or if you do the old, not two sticks together, but whatever, they figured it out. Thousands, tens of thousands of years ago. So this effect thing in the law of cause and effect refers to the observable and manifest outcome or result of the activity of first cause. That effects are the visible expressions of the creative power at work. That they encompass various aspects of existence, including physical events, mental states, emotional experiences, and material manifestations. Effect is the visible evidence of the underlying cause, reflecting the dominant thoughts, beliefs, and intentions held by ourselves as individuals, and the thoughts that we hold together collectively, in consciousness. Collective consciousness or race consciousness, as Holmes called it. It is believed that by understanding and consciously aligning with the creative principles, that we can then shape our experiences and bring forth desired effects in our life. That this science of mind philosophy, this teaching, this way of life recognizes the existence of universal spiritual laws that govern the relationship between first cause and effect. That these laws operate impartially and consistently. That there's an impersonalness to it, like any law. That it's no respecter of persons. It knows only to say yes, if it knows. These laws operate impartially, consistently providing a framework, ultimately, for our understanding of this creative process. That our thought, creates our reality by impressing itself upon the universal subjective law of life that knows only to say yes, to respond to our thought by saying yes, and that our life is a demonstration, and that is both the good news and the bad news. It's the good news. Don't we have a mighty consciousness when we're like demonstrating money and sweethearts and new cars and all the good stuff of life? And then we demonstrate the things that is not so good. But this is not the cosmic 2x4 to beat ourselves up with, right? As Reverend Nancy has pointed out to me many, many times over the years, when I am demonstrating what I do not want, if I just turn the other way, it's pointing exactly to the affirmative thought that I must hold in consciousness to demonstrate a different experience. One of the primary laws emphasized in this perspective then is called the law of mind, which is also known as the law of cause and effect, or the law of attraction, if you will. That this law states that we attract into our lives experiences, circumstances, and conditions that are in alignment with our predominant thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. And it suggests that the mind acts as a causative agent influencing the effects or outcomes that are experienced. So I also want to say here, if you are having an experience of life that you do not want, it is not helpful to beat yourself up with what's in my consciousness that recreated this calamity, this condition, right? It's not here for you to do that. What is called for is a new thought of healing that is propelling us into a different experience of life that allows what? That allows this infinite power and presence of the divine to express itself in, through, and as our life experience. For God so loved itself that it created you and even me in its own likeness and experience, in its own image and likeness, that it may have an experience of itself by means of you and by means of me. That's a pretty wild idea. And then it's up to us to prove how that is so. I really dig that thought. You'd think I'd have thought it up back in the granola years. But it took Ernest Holmes to kind of put it together for me. So the science of mind encourages us to develop an awareness of our thought, belief, intentions, recognizing our creative power and potential to consciously shape reality. It emphasizes the importance of cultivating positive and constructive thinking patterns, aligning our consciousness with the creative power of first cause, and consciously direct the effects to our desires to experience. So that's what we're doing here. And learning this for the first time, still today, was very empowering for me. It described to me the what, the when, and the how of how the divine works. And I was able to unhitch any baggage from religion, my religion of origin, or even what I thought about religion generally. I was able to unhitch that stuff. And it showed me how to consciously spiritualize my life and to spiritualize my religious belief, so that I became spiritual but not religious, if you will. But I don't think that's enough, because to be spiritual and not religious is really just saying, I'm spiritual but don't ask me to do anything about it. There must be an action component to our spiritual life. So, we show up, we learn how to spiritualize our life. It may take us a while to get used to the vernacular to get familiar with the jargon, because we do speak metaphysically. We just want to make sure we're not speaking metaphysically, right? We want to speak truth, truth with power to affect change for good in our life, and hopefully in the lives of those around us as well. So in this way, we can get into class, and we can have some pretty interesting discussions about the old G-O-D. But for me, my experience with that, this is all mental, science, think. And I loved that part because I was not interested in feel. And what can happen is we depersonalize our understanding of the divine. So I had Ernest Holmes' how, what, when, and where. But what I didn't really have was the who, because I was used to thinking of this thing as a who. And how do you personalize a concept? Well, how do we do anything in this teaching? We look for evidence of its expression. And it's really not about looking with the eyes of the intellect, because it's not something that we're going to quantify and qualify, because then we're just back to the finite mind trying to reinterpret things so that it can stay certain within its own understanding instead of working the edge where uncertainty lies. Right? So using the yogic idea in a pose where you get into a pose and you work into the pose enough to where you feel challenged by it, enough to grow, but not to injure ourselves. So we're doing this with consciousness as well, but not with the mind. One of the things that I've learned about myself is that then, not as much now, but certainly then I lived in my head a lot. Even as a construction guy, right? Logic clearly dictates the beam needs to go there. But, I wasn't really a Vulcan. I was like an angry Vulcan, right? Where the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, but it's only if you can do that free of resentment, which was not my forte. So I had to look in a different way. I had to look with my heart. Now, if you're really committed to manly man ways of living, this can be a challenge, because manly men don't do such things. But this is where the power lies. So why don't we do that? Because we're afraid, right? We might be seen crying, tears of joy, right? At a commercial on TV or a cat video on YouTube. But it's through the heart where we experience these things. For myself, I went to nature. Now, nature doesn't have to be, so there's all kinds of trails, north of Rinaldi, south of Ventura Boulevard. They are not that far away. We're blessed to have both mountains and oceans within an hour of us. But we don't have to go anywhere, really. We just need, at least for me, I step into nature and I do so with an open heart. Now, I didn't do this in the beginning. I actually kind of caught myself doing it one day. We come at it with an open heart. And here, right, to where I open my heart to nature, to experience the energetic of my natural surroundings. And it was here that I found awe and mystery, inspiration, connection, mystery. To be comfortable with the uncertainty of not knowing what lies around the next bend in the trail. But all of it as evidence of creativity at work. The expression of impartial spiritual laws at work that somehow resonate with my heart, so that the end result is that I feel more loving. And even more than, I feel the courage to be more loving, the courage to experience love, the courage to express love, the courage to express loving kindness and compassion, and a commitment within myself to allow others to do the same, free of judgment or where I think they should be in their consciousness. That's a big ask. Now, you can call that God if you like, but I call it love. When I call it love, I don't have to get tripped up on all the old stuff. And what I have learned is that love is the key to using this law, that a loving heart is the key that unlocks all of it. Because a loving heart operates free of resentment. And resentment is the baggage that we drag along behind us that keeps us from living our most effective life now. So we are intuitively guided to ways to heal our old stuff. And in healing our old stuff, we come to use the law intuitively. We don't even have to speak the word anymore. Why? Because we're living the first 2 steps of treatment. We are recognizing there's a power at work in the world and that we are one with it. And because we're living in gratitude, the release is simple and easy. That there aren't even any steps anymore to trip us up. You know, there's no such thing as a bad prayer, by the way. Prayer works. And to step into love is to free ourselves of the baggage that we may more effectively express our life as a life of the Most High. So let's take a breath on that. As we move through this day today, let's see if we can do so in an open-hearted way. In fact, in this moment, think of the silliest way that notion feels and see if you can do that today. Why, I've always wondered, Jesus said, bring the little children unto me. I think he needed a little more silliness. He needed a little reminder of how to live free. So maybe we can do that, to live today with the heart of a child, to experience the awe, the majesty, the beauty, to experience love in all of its forms, free of fear of any kind or attachments or demands of any kind. Play with that this week. See if there are ways to bring that into your work life, whatever work looks like for you these days. And then come back next week. We'll see how we did.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see, I won't cry, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, and the mountain should crumble into the sea, I won't cry, I won't be afraid, just as long as you're here, just as long as you stand, just stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. 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 Thank you, guys. Thank you. Nice work, Paolo.
Channeling your inner Barry White there. All right. So as we bring, Chloe's going to bring up our offering basket. So if you've come today and prepared to do a physical offering, this would be the time to do that. And but it's not required, of course, if it's your first time. All right, so we're going to sing 2 verses. Give you time at home also to go online and participate in the offering. So take it away, Maestro.
Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit gives through us, Spirit receives through us, Spirit lives and breathes through us. Spirit lives and breathes through us.
So going within for a moment. Let's take one more deep breath together as we recognize that this basket represents both the heart of the individual, the heart of this community, the heart of the individual, the generous heart of the individual, that person who knows and knows that they know that God is our source, our substance, our supply. It represents the heart of the community as we accept these gifts. Your gifts, from whatever way they make their way here, either through the mail, through electronic giving, or here with your gifts in person. That we know together that these gifts go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless not only the vision and mission of this spiritual community, but anyone connected to it in any way. And from this place of gratitude, then, we extend a blessing on our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them. That we know for our planet as well. In some crazy cosmic way, it's all an expression of first cause, the one mind of the living Spirit, making itself known in our world in ways great and small. And when we see it, we feel raised and connected, empowered and loving to live life spiritually, to raise the life of not only our own life, but those around us as well. And that's a good thing. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. Amen. So I'm just going to bother you for just a moment longer because we have an announcement on Wednesday night, which was the solstice. We had the drawing for this ring, right? This little fundraiser that we've had for the last couple of months. And Reverend Susie Andrews, who's sitting in the back holding the high watch, is resonating and attuning to her new ring, the ring of power above all rings. And so today, if you would also thank Hillary and Steve Barth of Inspired Diamonds and Jewelry, who were the donors. I'm sure you wanted to do this anonymously, but too bad. And so we just appreciate the generosity of your gift to us. And we raised almost $1,800 so good for you, good for us. And so let's thank Jason one more time.
Thanks, you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
And Paolo.
Yeah, Paolo.
And it occurred to me while I was sitting there, of course, I speak zero French, except from what I learned from Pepe Le Pew cartoons. So it's not Viva la Thibault. It's something else. No? Nothing like putting you on the spot. Okay. Well, anyway, Thibault, just feel our heart, all right, buddy? And we'll see you. Okay. Pray us out, Rev. Please.
Join us for refreshments next door in Sparks Hall. So let's just take a breath, breathing in that wonderful energy for the past hour. And as I speak in the I am for everyone here and online, recognizing that presence of God, whatever I choose to call it, whether it's God, infinite mind, spirit, there's just infinite names for God, and knowing that I experience God in every day and every way, that I feel that presence of God, knowing that oneness of all of God's love, health, wealth, creativity. I know that I'm one with those God qualities and express them at all times. And so I feel that love, I feel that health, I feel that inner wealth and creativity, and I express it and demonstrate it right now. And so I am so grateful right now, so deeply grateful for everyone participating, especially Reverend Mike, and just feeling that gratitude for all my blessings as I release my word to the law of mind, knowing it is done, knowing it is so, and together we say, and so it is.
Please join me in singing the peace song. Here we go. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as a power, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let Have a great day, you guys.